A warm hello and welcome to Top Screen Tales. Imagine living in a dorm for artistic prodigies while you feel painfully average. It's a recipe for crippling self-doubt. The Pet Girl of Sakurasou dives into this messy reality, asking a brutally honest question. How do you find your own talent when you're completely overshadowed by the effortless genius of everyone around you? It's a conflict that feels uncomfortably real. Welcome to the Sakura Dormitory, infamously known as Sakurasou. This isn't standard student housing. It's a dilapidated haven for brilliant but socially inept misfits. Our guide is Sorata Kanda, who feels totally out of place. He's the normal one, exiled here for adopting a stray cat. His initial goal is simple: escape this den of weirdos and return to a normal life. He believes he doesn't belong among these strange, talented people, and he desperately wants out. Sorata's perspective is our entry point. He sees the other residents as exasperatingly weird. There's hyperactive animator Misaki, stoic writer Jin, and reclusive programmer Ryunosuke. To Sorata, they are abnormalities, not peers. His desire to leave is a desperate attempt to protect his sense of self from the overwhelming, suffocating talent that surrounds him. He feels like a fraud, and his only defense is to plan his escape before he gets completely swallowed by their brilliance. Sorata's escape plan is derailed by Mashiro Shiina. On the surface, she is ethereal and beautiful. She's also a world-renowned artist, a true prodigy whose paintings fetch millions. But this genius comes at a cost. Mashiro has zero common sense. She can't pick out her own clothes, do laundry, or even get dressed without help. She is a savant in the truest sense, brilliant in one area and utterly helpless in all others. A living paradox Sorata is forced to confront. This is where the show's controversial premise and title originates. Sorata is unceremoniously assigned Mashiro duty. He becomes her designated caretaker, responsible for everything from waking her up to making sure she wears underwear. This dynamic is played for comedy, but it's the core of their bond. It's a relationship built on forced intimacy and codependency. While the pet label is uncomfortable, the show uses this to explore themes of responsibility, vulnerability, and the unusual ways people come to rely on each other. Sakurasou is more than just Sorata and Mashiro. It's an ecosystem of talent. Misaki Kamiyusa is an animation powerhouse whose boundless energy is infectious. Jin Mitaka is the handsome, popular scriptwriter who seems to have it all figured out, but hides deep insecurities. Then there's Ryunosuke Akasaka, a hikikomori programmer who communicates exclusively through an AI he built. Each one is a genius in their own right, and each one is deeply, fundamentally flawed in a way that makes them utterly compelling. The heart of Sakurasou is the brutal conflict between talent and hard work. Sorata is the embodiment of effort. He grinds away day and night to become a game designer, facing rejection after rejection. Meanwhile, he watches Mashiro effortlessly succeed as a mangaka on her first try. This creates a raw, ugly, and incredibly relatable jealousy. The series doesn't shy away from Sorata's bitterness. It validates the frustration of working your hardest only to be lapped by someone who was simply born with it. Mashiro's character arc is a masterclass in subtlety. She begins as a blank slate, almost doll-like, entirely dependent on others for basic functions. But through her interactions with Sorata and the others, she begins to develop her own desires and emotions. She learns what it means to want something, to feel lonely, to miss someone. Her journey from a vessel for talent to a person with agency is slow and quiet, but it's the emotional core that anchors the entire story. She learns to be human. Sorata's journey is equally compelling. He starts out wanting to escape his reality, but ends up running towards a dream he never knew he had. His resentment towards Mashiro is a hurdle he must overcome. The show allows him to be flawed, to be petty, angry, and unfair. This makes his eventual growth so much more satisfying. He learns that genius isn't a magical force, it comes with its own burdens. He ultimately finds his own worth not by comparing himself to others, but by defining success on his own terms. The romance between Sorata and Mashiro is anything but typical. It's messy, awkward, and born from a bizarre caretaking dynamic. There's no grand confession under a cherry tree. Instead, their love grows in the small moments. Sorata fixing her computer, Mashiro trying to cook for him, their shared vulnerability in the face of failure. It's a relationship about two incomplete people who, through proximity and necessity, start to fill in each other's gaps. It feels earned because it's built on shared struggle, not just fleeting attraction. The secondary romance between Jin and Misaki provides a more tragic, mature counterpoint. Misaki's love for Jin is explosive and unconditional, while Jin constantly pushes her away. It's not because he doesn't love her, but because he feels his talent as a writer will never match her genius as an animator. He's terrified of holding her back. This subplot is a heartbreaking exploration of how insecurity can poison love, showing another facet of the show's central theme, the crushing weight of comparing your own worth to someone else's. Amidst all the heavy drama, Sakurasou is genuinely hilarious. The physical comedy, the rapid-fire banter, and the sheer absurdity of the residents' daily lives provide essential levity. From Misaki's chaotic energy to Ryonosuke's deadpan AI responses, the humor lands consistently. However, it's a product of its time. Some of the fan service and romantic comedy tropes feel a bit forced and can occasionally clash with the more serious, emotional moments. It's a delicate balance that the show mostly gets right, but the seams occasionally show. If there's one scene that defines the show's emotional power, it's the graduation speech. As the third years prepare to leave Sakurasou, the inevitable farewell looms. Misaki's speech isn't a polished, formal address. It's a raw, heartfelt, and tearful thank you to the found family that allowed her to be herself. It perfectly encapsulates the show's message about shared memories, the pain of moving on, and the unbreakable bonds forged in a place like Sakurasou. It's an absolute gut punch that brings the entire series into focus. Visually, JC Staff delivers a production that is both vibrant and expressive. The art style uses a bright, soft color palette that perfectly suits the slice-of-life atmosphere, making the dramatic moments hit even harder. Character designs are distinct and memorable, conveying personality through their appearance. The soundtrack is also exceptional. The opening themes are energetic and catchy, while the background music expertly shifts between lighthearted comedy and poignant melancholy, amplifying the emotional weight of every key scene. It's a cohesive and polished presentation. No show is perfect, and Sakurasou does stumble. The introduction of Rita Ainsworth, Mashiro's former roommate from England, creates a somewhat formulaic conflict. Her arc, focused on trying to bring Mashiro back, feels like a distraction from the core character drama developing within the dorm. While it gives Mashiro more backstory, the plotline slows the pacing of the second half and feels less organic than the internal conflicts that drive the story. It's a necessary subplot, perhaps, but not the show's strongest element. We have to address the title. Calling Mashiro the Pet Girl is intentionally provocative and can be uncomfortable. The show presents a character so dependent she is infantilized. Is it problematic? Initially, yes. However, the narrative's entire purpose is to deconstruct this. Sorata's journey is about learning to see her not as a pet or a project, but as a person. And Mashiro's journey is about outgrowing that label herself. The show uses this uncomfortable premise as a starting point for growth, rather than its final message. The central metaphor of the series comes from a simple question Mashiro asks Sorata. What color do you want to be? At first, he has no answer, feeling colorless next to the vibrant geniuses around him. The show's ultimate message is that life isn't about being born a brilliant color. It's about the color you become through effort, passion, and experience. The pain of being overshadowed can either bleach you of all color or force you to mix your own unique shade. Sakurasou argues for the latter. Years after its release, why does Sakurasou still resonate so deeply? Because it's one of the most honest anime ever made about the creative struggle and the poison of comparison. It tapped into the universal fear of inadequacy that everyone, especially artists and creators, feels. It became a foundational text for the genius versus hard work subgenre, influencing countless school life dramas that followed. Its willingness to let its protagonist be unlikable in his jealousy is what makes his story so timelessly human. So, should you watch The Pet Girl of Sakurasou? Yes, with a small warning. If you're looking for a simple, feel-good comedy, this isn't it. This is a messy, heartfelt, and deeply empathetic story about finding your place in a world that seems to have left you behind. It will make you laugh, it will make you incredibly frustrated, and it will almost certainly make you cry. It's a must-watch for anyone who has ever looked at someone else's success and questioned their own. Thank you so much for joining me for this look back at a modern classic. If you enjoyed this analysis, a like and a subscription would mean the world. What makes Sakurasou special to you? Let me know down below. And as always, tell me what film, anime, or series Top Screen Tales should cover next.